the bulk of the music that you have used, I think it's fair to say, is Western classical.
Yes,
and
on purpose.
A little bit with bad plus and sort of jazzy, but you're obviously interested in a lot of other kinds of ethnic musics so why have you stuck so loyally to Western classical music?
Because since I only work with live music, it's a real pain in the ass to do stuff. I put together, for my 25th anniversary, for example, an early dance of mine was to 3 little gorgeous Romanian folk tunes. I had a record, right? I had a record when I made the dance up when I was maybe early 20s. 3 little pieces, solo for myself. It was so impossible. And it was a translation from one of the songs, and it was called I Love You Dearly, was the name of the dance. And I made, and like 25th anniversary, it's like, well, let's see, I want to do these old dances, old early dances. And so we found some Romanian musicians in Queens and brought them in.
You can find everything in Queens.
Yeah, I know, believe me. And we worked on, because of course the version they knew of this song was more in an 8, and what I did was more in a 7. But, it was just time passing and different people, different village or whatever. Queens versus, I can't think of a name, damn it, Timișoara or something like that. So, oh, thank God I got that. That was a problem. I can't remember my last name, but I got that. So anyway, but that is also those rhythms. My early teens, I did a lot of what was popular at the time, of Balkan folk dancing. And I was in a semi-professional company, and we did, of course, the thrilling Bulgarian dances and Macedonian, Serbian, Wallachian from Romania, and a lot of these things that have fabulous complex rhythms, and you're singing at the same time, or you're singing in 8 and dancing in 6. And
did you do something down in Philadelphia with a lot of this stuff
yes,
recently?
Yes, I did.
But you didn't bring it to New York.
No, because it was set on a Ukrainian dance company.
Oh, that's right.
Anyhow, it's like the Dvorak that Barry brought up, this piece we were talking about. I did a dance called The Office, which is to Dvorak bagatelles for strings and harmonium. Try and find a harmonium. And anyway, because it's terrible on a piano. It doesn't wheeze enough.
Your organist pianist could nail it.
We have one, we have one that falls apart. You have to reassemble it every time. It fills with air and then just falls apart. Anyway, but that dance, my company does it, but I choreographed it on a Croatian dance company in Columbus, Ohio. And I know Croatian dancing, and they were Croatian. It's like, okay, with this vocabulary of dancing, what kind of a dance can I come up with? And I did. And, but back to the music, the Western music thing and relating to what I know. I knew from very early on that this is a waltz, this is a Landler, this is a hambo, because I know those dances. I knew a bourrée, I knew, Provençal bourrée, and I knew Spanish dances, Escuela Bolero and Jota, and so dances from Aragon and from Andalusia and, classical Spanish dance. I know those things. And I know a lot of stuff because I'm interested. That's the only reason. Nobody made me. I don't have much book learning. Larnin, sorry.
Yes.
See?
To what extent do you, as you conduct and coach more and more, do you engage in pieces of music that you have not choreographed to or contemplated? Because you did this Houston Ballet piece to the Haydn, you're doing this piece for ABT in the fall to the Hummel, but have you ever considered doing different kinds of music that you have not done as a dance and haven't really thought about doing as a dance? Not that you might not do it later.
Yes, that's happened some.
Okay.
Well, for one thing, I coach, and it's sounding like it's too much like it's a career I'm going into, and I'm not transiting. I'm just sort of expanding a little bit. I'm less interested in some things, like recorded music, and I'm more interested in other things as I gain confidence and knowledge from a lifetime, believe me, a lifetime of musical experience. I've been working with composers and conductors and musicians my whole life, and I used to be a lot scareder. And then I worked with, a couple of crackpot conductors. It's like, wait a minute, just a second, I can do that.
I can name a couple.
Yeah, well, we've only got an hour, John.
That's true.
So, it's like I insulted some conductor I was talking about I won't say who it was, but I said, but he's great. It's like, well, he's great, but he's not good. So,
Yeah, that's an interesting distinction.
yeah, think about that. I'll tell you later who it is.
Right.
He's not Canadian, this particular conductor. But so it's not a sideline. It's I don't know. It's like baking in your own kitchen and selling it instead of starting a giant factory. It's a little artisanal, if I may use a horrific overused word. I'm sorry, but like I conducted the fabulous, fabulous choir at Trinity Church. They asked me to do one of the cantatas that I'd choreographed and have conducted a lot, which is so scary, of course. Jesu meine Freude, which is, a pretty big 5-part scary, the motet, sorry. And they asked me to do another one for their concerts. So I studied it, and whatever that little short one is, I can't remember. And it was super fun and scary. One thing I like about doing this is that it makes me really scared.
And sort of going back to the basics of
it's like, shit.
Right.
It's like, and eventually you just have to give a downbeat, because nothing's going to happen. As much as you argue about it, it's like, are you sure this could be a little, in the piano bench, sorry, any pianists. You postpone it forever, and it's like, dang, okay, go. And especially if there's a dancer's looking at you like, excuse me, can we start? The biggest thing is, as a conductor, you frankly have to stay a little bit ahead of things, and you're facing the other direction. From when I was a dancer, I used to do Dido, and then I was conducting Dido, and that's when I was told the orchestra today, that's when I learned I had a bald spot. I saw a picture of me conducting. It's like, I've never seen myself from the back before.
There was some conductor who did shoe polish on his bald spot.
Oh, there's a few, yeah.
Do you have any, just out of my own curiosity, do you have any specific plans to direct operas in the next year or two that we could hear about?
No. The next piece I'm working on, my new piece that I'm starting next week, is a new project that I'm just starting, and it's called Laila and Majnu, and it's based on a very, very important music tradition from, in this case, Azerbaijan.
Oh, so we are transcending Western classical music.
Yeah.
This is for your company.
It's for my company, and we're doing it with the Silk Road Ensemble, and with the great, great English painter Howard Hodgkin is doing the sets. So it's a contained piece, sort of the scale of Dido and Aeneas. I can't say much about it. We're trying to raise money for it, frankly. But it premieres in about a year, and it's Western instruments principally with a few Azerbaijani musicians, and it's sung in Azeri, and it's these two very famous singers, the Kasimovs.
Now, the reason I asked about opera was that in looking at your sort of bio as from the source of all sources, Wikipedia.
There's a better one on my website.
No, I know. I looked at that too. But most of your opera directing commissions have come from Anglophone countries. In other words, England and America.
Yeah.
Have you been approached by continental people to do opera direction as opposed to choreography?
No.
That's odd.
My work isn't very popular in continental Europe, frankly.
Really?
Not so much.
I mean, is this still a reaction from the Béjar fanatics?
Oh, God, no. Oh, no, Belgium has recovered a long time ago, and so have I. But, I've done foreign language operas, but I haven't been, we don't really go on tour very much to France, Germany, Holland. We just don't. We've been to Spain some, but of course there isn't it's a big mess. And we perform in Great Britain a lot, Australia. We're working a lot in Asia and all over the States, but never very much in Europe.
The whole idea of the tight little island of England.
Yeah.
It really is real. There's a real sense of dissimilar sensibilities in England and the continent.
Yeah.
And England, of course, is a lot closer to America.
But, it's also Germany, France, Holland have long-standing modern dance traditions, contemporary stuff. And opera-wise, they're not interested in me. I don't know. It's all right. Maybe,
but I mean,
this will get me a gig. Where's the camera? This will get me a gig.
No, but it is interesting that people like Sasha Waltz and so forth direct operas in Germany all the time.
Sure.
So they're not averse to the notion of choreographers directing opera.
That's because they are in many ways far, far less conservative than the American audience.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, the funding thing, although the European version is getting much closer to the US one. I don't want to talk about that really. But, that's fun, and hooray. There's still an opera house in every town, as opposed to, like, let's see, here I am in this driving across the States, let's see, one, it's like that. And so there are festivals and stuff that promote that, and people do new stuff. They don't expect a retread of the same opera,
right,
or the same ballet for that matter.
They
people
want
are super conservative in the dance industry.
Variety
also.
over there.
Yeah.
Listen.
And commissions don't start on opera commissions. Yeah.
Music and you and dance is a subject that you have been quizzed about and talked about forever. But is there any aspect of it that we didn't talk about that you would like to mention?
That I choreograph specifically because of the existence of music. I love it. And believe me, I'm not an evangelist on this. Do whatever the hell you want, everybody. I don't represent dance herself or music. I don't represent choreographers. I'm not a dance critic. I'm an appreciator, and I have opinions, and I love the whole thing. I love what is unfortunately now called world dance. Another one of those. It used to just be called dance. Now it's like world dance if it's from somewhere besides where you grew up. I don't even understand that. So I'm deeply involved I'm very, very interested in traditional dance, in the folk ways, as people say, that and music. I'm an expert in bluegrass and early country western music. I love a lot of things. And it just so happens that I get this work, and I work in this milieu, and it's very enjoyable and valuable to me. And it's always the people who are doing it. My company exists in a way that I feel like there hasn't been a company like this since early Balanchine, when nobody liked it. And he was just making up dances and training them and doing this work.
And it was falling apart every other year.
Oh, yeah, it was a disaster. But he wasn't all over the place like all music directors and sopranos now who work in a million cities. It makes me crazy. So I have this old-fashioned, handcrafted thing, and there are very few single choreographer companies at all for various reasons, some terrible and some okay. And so I have this company that isn't translatable to another language. And that's true with my work for that company. So we do it better than anybody else, and we're happy to share it and give things away. So it's not that I'm not a curmudgeon, I'm not stingy in my work, I'm just very protective of it. So, I love working with musicians and dancers, whether it turns into a performance or not. And of course now everything, because we're of course on TV, and whatever, we're in all media in perpetuity, that gives me the creeps. I like eye-to-eye, face-to-face. I use live music, live dancers, and God willing, a live audience. And that's the thing. I don't care about the video monitors and the, digital. I'm not digital. If you're ready to kill yourself and you're me, you go see a movie like Avatar, which just, it's the death. For me, the death of civilization. I can't stand it. And, I have some things, some devices I use occasionally. I can't look at screens anymore. I want to look farther away and into people's eyes. And I want people to listen and look and think. And I'm not teaching anybody a particular lesson. I'm offering this work. And, I'm paid for it. I have a pretty good life. I have a pretty good job. I'm not rich. This was a gift. And... so it's like, I'm not the world domination thing. It's like, I want to see and hear a fabulous show. And I do a lot, but I'm not going to pretend that I like something that I didn't. I leave. I'm sorry.